Hi everyone, I hope you're all having a great week so far. Thank you so much for joining me today for some Pilates. And we're going to start a slight exercise before we begin. And then we're going to do some lovely hip strengthening and leg lengthening exercises with some kicks and some circles before coming onto our backs. Now, when we come onto our backs into relaxation position, we're then going to do some really quite intense core exercises. So I'd really like you to look after your backs, really try and keep your neutral position. And if you feel that you're losing that position, beginning to arch or imprint your spine, just take it down a notch so that you can really keep that the neutral whilst performing the exercise. I'll be giving you some modifications and adaptations throughout, so remember you can always mix those up, try whichever you like and see how you get on. So equipment wise today, we need our mat, you need our head pillows, and also if you have your bands, that's going to be really handy. We're going to do some long leg drops, and some of you might find the support of the band really helpful to help you achieve that exercise. Others of you who are a little bit stronger, or if you've got shorter legs, it's actually going to be a lot easier. So just see how you get on, have the bands handy, and you can use it if necessary. Okay, so we are going to come down onto our sides to start with and start with some oyster. So I'd like you to come onto your side and set yourself up for your normal oyster. So we're going to have our arm underneath our head just while we warm up. So our head is going to be supported. I completely lost what I was going to say then. So we have our bottom arm long along the floor, our cushion between our arm and our head. So your head is nicely supported and in line with your spine. And then keeping your knees together, take your feet back so that they're in line with your spine. So just glance back and make sure that you've got that line going from your head to your bottom to your feet. So getting yourself in position on the floor, we have our ankles stacked, our knees stacked, and our hips are stacked. Shoulders stacked as well. And I'd like you to keep your chest really nice and open. Try not to let yourself roll forward and try not to go backwards. So you can take that top hand and place it on your hip, or you can place it on the floor in front of you, whichever you prefer. So we're going to start with our normal oysters. So keeping your hips and your pelvis completely still, I'd like you to draw your toe muscles in and just lift the base of the waist part of your spine off the floor. It's really easy to just slump into the mat, and you can see that I've arched here. I've got a lateral flexion in my spine. So I'm pressing that top hip away, bringing my tummy muscles in and supporting myself with these core muscles. Okay, so our normal oyster to start with, we breathe in. As we breathe out, let's keep our heels together and just start floating that knee up as far as you can without your pelvis tipping back. And inhale to lower down. We're going to start nice and slowly. We're just getting our hips warmed up. But also, this is going to really help to strengthen your legs and your hips, having the same effect on your pelvic floor and your core muscles too. Okay, so don't be tempted to drop your head to look down. Keep your gaze going in front of you so you've got your lovely neutral spine and neck. Breathing out and breathing in. Breathing out again and in. Good. Keeping those tummy muscles coming in so you're supported at all times. We're going to do 12 to start with. Breathing out and in. And out. Good. And in. I've totally lost count, so let's do 3 more. Hopefully you're beginning to feel something going on down the side of your leg now, but don't lose that precision of movement and don't lose that lovely support you have in your core. Good. We'll make this next one our final one. Breathing out and coming back down. Okay, so now we're going to add on a leg extension. So exactly the same as before, but with a leg extend. So we have same starting position. This time, hand goes on your hip. That's just going to help you make sure that you don't rock your pelvis back. We breathe out, still breathing out. I'd like you to keep your thigh completely still and extend that leg, lightly pointing your toe. And then as you inhale, bend your knee again so that your heels come back together and lower down. And you should really feel all of these muscles around your inner thigh, your outer thigh, right up into your glutes are working as well. Let's go again. We breathe out. Try not to move your thigh forwards or backwards. Just extend through that leg, politely pointing your toe. Bring your feet back together and lower down. Super duper. Go again, breathing out and out. And in and in. Now, if you're doing these correctly, you should really feel that you're having to control around your leg. You're not kicking it about and not worrying what your thigh is doing. You're keeping your thigh really still, as if once it gets here, it's frozen. You've just got that leg extending at the knee. Lovely. Okay, 3 more like this. Breathing out and out. Keep that top shoulder away from your ear. Keep your jaw relaxed. And I'm really beginning to feel this now. Breathing out and out. And in and in. Out and out. And in and in. And I'm really feeling that now. So give your leg a little bit of a tap. Give it a stretch. And then we're going to alter the position. Now, if you have a squidgy ball handy, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the class, that's going to be great. We're going to use that to support your knee. If you don't have a squidgy ball, use a big cushion. I'm going to use the ball so you can see what the rest of my body is doing. So we're going to alter our position by taking that bottom leg really long now, in line with your spine, and bring that top knee up at 90 degrees and supporting it with your squidgy ball. Okay, so you've got a 90-degree angle at your hip and your knee. You can either have the ball or your cushion here, and that bottom leg is extended in line with your spine. Now, you're going to need to use your top hand because it's really tempting to roll forward as if you were in the recovery position. So you're going to use that top hand on the floor and create a really strong framework so you're not rolling forward. So pointing through that toe, keep your toe muscles coming in. We're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, we float that leg up and lower down with control. So it's an inner thigh lift and lower. Breathing out and in. So you can imagine you've got this hip adduction. So really strengthening your inner thigh and groin area, keeping your toe muscles engaged as well. And this movement is just as far as you can make it. So different people have different ranges of movements in their hips. Don't worry if you can't get quite as far up as I can, or if you can get even further, that's great. Just make sure you're completing the movement really precisely. If you let your leg come forward, you're going to be able to lift it more. So make sure that that leg is in line with your spine and you're not tempted to float it forward as you do the exercises. Go again. Brilliant. 3 and 2 and 1, and lower that leg down. Give it a little bit of a pat. Just gonna have to move my lesson plan because I can't quite see it. My eyesight's going. Okay, so now we're going to come into a different starting position for side lying. It's a lot more pressure on your neck. So I really want you to feel how this is for you. You can always come back down into that position we've just done with the cushions underneath our heads and our arm. But this one, we're going to come so that our elbow is on the floor supporting our head. And then the other elbow is behind your hands. So you're open through your chest. You make sure your elbow is in line with your shoulder, in line with your hips. Really nice and open. And then we're going to alter the position of our legs. So the bottom leg goes forward to about 30 degrees, okay? So it's not 45 degrees, it's not 90 degrees, it's 30 degrees. And that top leg is extended out in line with your spine. What we're going to do is some leg kicks. So you can already feel that this is quite a strong movement. Just holding my leg up at hip height is making me work all the way around my core. So it's strengthening through my hips. So this time we breathe out to bring that leg forward and in to come back. So you can see this leg is going to have to work really hard to maintain a still rested body. So you're kicking and coming back. It's tempting to let the top of your body go forward and back in a kind of momentum thing, but I'm doing all I can to keep my balance. So you might be able to see I'm wobbling a little bit. All these muscles in my body are working hard to make sure that I don't wobble around too much, okay? So use that lower leg, really keep it energized and long. Don't worry about the distance you can move this top leg. What I'd like you to do is maintain the quality of movement, so we can start small. So keep your leg long and at hip height. Point your toe to come forward as far as you can without altering the position of the rest of your body. And then take your heel and come back. Hopefully you're going to come back just in line with your spine and go forward again. So it's actually quite a hard movement. And if you want to give your head a rest and come down onto the floor and have your hand on the floor, you should feel that this is a lot easier because you've got that support through the top of your body. So by taking it into this alternate starting position, everything is having to work a lot harder. Good. Okay, one last one. Bring that leg down, rest it on top of the other one for a little bit. And we're going to go into another exercise from this position, which is a kick up and down. Again, listen to your body and keep the movement small while you build the strength up. So we have our legs nice and long. This time you're going to kick up with that leg and take it down. So your leg is slightly in front of your body. It's at 30 degrees. And you're keeping your spine as long as possible. So really smoothly, try not to let your pelvis rock forward or backwards. You're breathing out to lift, in to lower. Again, your lower leg needs to be really active to make sure that you can complete this movement without falling over. If you try just letting that bottom leg relax, you should feel it's a lot harder to do. I actually can't do it without keeping that leg up. Keep the chest nice and open. Keep your jaw relaxed again. Lovely. And one more. And our final one. And rest that leg, hopefully feeling a little bit more relaxed around here. Relaxed, I don't know what I mean by that. But you've worked it and now you can relax. That's what I'm trying to say. Good news is we've got a lovely exercise to come. So back into your oyster position and take your hands behind your head, clasp them there as if you were going to do a curl-up. We're going to go into butterflies. So your elbows are together, your shoulders, hips, knees and ankles are stacked. Bring your toe muscles in. Breathing in. As you breathe out, lift that top arm up and rotate backwards, keeping your hips facing forward. And then close back down. So we breathe out to open, breathe in to return. So we're focusing on the rotation of our rib cage now. So as you twist back, your hips stay forward. So you've got that gorgeous rotation all the way from the base of your spine up to your head, because your head and neck are turning as well. And go as far as you can without your pelvis rocking back. So I'll just show you, if I try and go further than I'm allowed in my rotation of spine, you can see my knees come off and my hips start to go back. So we're going to keep that really controlled. We're going to do two more like this. And in, lovely, and one last one. Breathing out, really trying to get that gorgeous rotation, letting your shoulder relax as well as you open and close back down. Okay, so pushing yourself up now, we're going to come into a really unusual side lying lift thing. Okay, so it's a little bit complicated to show you, but I'll do my best. So we come into a kneeling position. I know my head has disappeared off the screen, but we can kneel with our knees directly underneath our hips. Then we're going to take one leg out to the side. So place your hands on your hips, take the other leg out, and then come down. My head's come back on, so that your hand is in line with your knee. Again, I'd like you to open out the front of your chest. So rather than rolling forward, open out. Now, if you need extra support underneath your wrist or your knee, place a little cushion there, and that's going to give you a bit of support. Pointing through that toe, we're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to float that leg up and lower down. Lifting and lower. Keep this supporting leg really strong. You might be able to feel it down the side of your leg into your glutes. Good. Breathing out, keep your gaze going forward. Try not to bring your head forward to see what your leg's doing. Breathing out again. We're going to do two more here. out and in and out and in. Lovely. Bring your knee back, push yourself back up. And we're going to come down onto our side. Well done. So it's a little bit of an unusual one, but you should hopefully feel the strength of your hips there, really working hard. So we're going to go into our side lying lift. You have options here. You can come onto your elbow and be in your oyster position to start, hand on that top hip, breathing in, breathing out to float up so that your body is in one long line and lower down. Or you can come into it on your hands. So bring your hand in line with your shoulder, fingertips pointing away from you, and an equilateral triangle formed by the floor and your hand and your arm and your body. And then lengthen that lower leg slightly and place that top foot over. So your legs are slightly bent and your feet are hooked together. Gaze going towards the front, hands by your knee for this one, okay? So we're going to switch it up a little bit this time. We breathe in, and as we breathe out, press through your hands and lift your hips up. Bring your arm up, lower down with control, okay? So we're going to breathe in and breathe out to lift. In to lower down. Now you can do the same with your elbow on the floor. Lift and lower. So this is a nice step up. You're not having your hands on your hip, but you're still getting that strength through the arm. If you have a shoulder issue, I suggest you be really careful with this and just build it up bit by bit. Do what you're comfortable with, but never feel pressurized to do the full exercise if you're not quite there yet. So we're going to breathe in again to prepare. Breathe out to lift. In to lower down. And out to lift. Good. I'm losing my breath. In to lower down. That wasn't the best lower I've ever done. And out to lift. In and out. Now, unlike what I'm doing, I like to try and lower down as gently as you can. That was better. So much more control. And this is our last one. Lifting here, pausing here for a second. Lower down with control. Bring yourself to sitting. And just give your shoulders a little bit of a roll back to get rid of any tension through there. Super. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same on the other side now, starting with those oysters. So, cushion between your arm and your head. Feet in line with your bottom, knees together, hips stacked, top hand either on the floor or on your hip. We're going to breathe in. And as you breathe out, let's lift that top leg up so that it is level, so that your pelvis is level and you've got your knee as far as you can, and lower down. Now, it might feel really easy on one side and harder than the other. And that's really common, especially if you're really dominantly left-handed or right-handed. Breathing out to lift and in to lower. Out to lift, good, and in to lower. Super. Okay, so just check you're not letting your pelvis rock backwards. Note if you're having more mobility on one side than the other, that's completely normal. Out again and in. We've got 3 more to go here. Breathing out and in. Out and in. Lovely. And one last one. Out and in. Super. Okay, so now we're going to go into that oyster and leg extension. So breathing in to prepare, breathing out to float your knee up. Keep your thighs still as you softly point that leg and extend the knee. Bring back together, lower down. I'm beginning to feel it now in the outside edge of my thigh. Keep your chest nice and open. Keep your jaw relaxed. Remember to breathe. Inhale and down. Breathing out and extend. Inhale and down. Ouch. Extend. Good. Inhale and down. And again, lifting and extend. Back and down. And we'll do one more. And extend. Inhale and down. Well done. So now grabbing your cushion or your ball, take that lower leg really long in line with your spine, bring that top leg up so it's at 90 degrees and your knee is resting on the support. Use your hands to keep you from falling forward. So remember, you've got like lovely framework through your chest and your arm. We're going to go into those in the thigh lift and lowers. So lightly point that toe, keep that leg in line with your spine, breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to lift up and lower down. Keep your pelvis still, keep your toe muscles scooping up and in. Breathing out and in. Really long, and don't be tempted to let that leg come forward. We're keeping it in line with our spine. Lifting and lowering, and again. Breathing out and in. Out and in. 2 more times like this. Out and in. And out, up and in, and rest here. Well done. Getting rid of your cushion, and we're going to come onto our elbows now to go into our side lying kicks. So alter your position. So your head is resting on your hands, your elbow is in line with your shoulder, and your top elbow is nice and wide so you're open through your chest. Lengthen your lower leg out at 30 degrees from the line of your spine. And make sure it's really nice and active. Your hips are still stacked, and you should find that even just holding this leg up at hip height, you can feel all these muscles around your core, your lower spine, and your leg and hip really working hard. So we're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, softly kick that leg forward and bring back. You might find that one side is a lot easier than the other, and I'm actually finding that this is the side for me that I can actually go a little bit further. I'm a lot less wobbly. But still remember to keep that lower leg really extended. Keep your elbows really strong. If this is too much on your head, you can always alter your position and lengthen your arm down onto the floor. Pressing forward and back. Breathing out. Remember, we're looking for control and precision. Doesn't matter about how far you can go. We're just going to work gradually to get that range of movement. Breathing out and in. Keep those toe muscles coming in to support you. Last one. And lower down. Well done. Okay, so now we're going to go into those lifts and lowers. So legs together. Turn that top leg out so that you're rotated. Breathing in, breathing out to lift. In to lower. Point your toe to lift up. Exhale to lower. Keep your hips balanced. It's really easy to start letting your top hip roll back. You're going to keep that still, and you might find that just by rotating, you get a little bit more movement. If you keep your knee facing forward, you're kind of going to get stuck, but by rotating, you give yourself that movement in your hip joint. Super. Okay, 2 more like this. And 1 more. And come down and rest here. Well done. Going to go into those butterflies now to get that lovely movement through your spine. So knees and feet together, just like an oyster. And take your hands behind your head and clasp them there. Elbows together, breathing in. As you breathe out, we're going to lift that top arm up. Keeping your hips facing forward, rotate through your rib cage. Keep your shoulder relaxed and your jaw soft. And come back. So as we breathe out, we're going to keep those tummy muscles coming in to support your spine. And coming back down. Breathing out. I can still feel my leg. I can feel that it's been working. Good. And again, breathing out to rotate back. And in to come down. And again, breathing out, rotating, getting that gorgeous movement through your spine, keeping it really healthy. It's excellent for your posture as well. So rotating in this way, it's really going to help open out your chest and your rib cage. We have 2 more here. Good. Keep your hips facing forward. Keep the weight going down through your knees as well. And last one. And come back. Resting here before we come into our side lying leg lifts. So kneeling on the floor, so your knees are directly underneath your hips. You're going to take the other leg out to the side now. So take that other leg out to the side. The arch of your foot is level with your knee. And then we're going to sink down so that our hand is on the floor, in line with your leg, toes pointing away from you, and top hand on that top hip. Pointing that toe, we're going to breathe in and breathe out to lift and lower. Lift and lower. Now I can feel that my hand is slightly too far forward. Good. So try and lift, and you might find, like me, that one side is a lot easier than the other. So for me, the other side was easier. Breathing out and in. Really feel that strength around your hip. Out and in. Good. 3 more. And 2. And 1. Bring that knee back in. Push yourself up. And come back down onto your sides, because we're going to go into those side lifts and lowers. But just first, just give yourself a little bit of a rock around if you need it. And then you can choose what position to start in. So we have either our oyster, so our feet are together, knees are together. We can have that top hand on our hip, breathing in, breathing out to lift and lower down. Or you can do the same, but with different legs. So your lower leg is slightly extended even, and you've got a bend in your knee, and that top foot is hooked over. So your knees are apart. We breathe in and we breathe out to lift and lower. Really strong on your shoulders. Out to lift, in to lower. Or we can do the same with our hand on the floor. So remember, our fingers point away from us. We've created that gorgeous triangle, and our hand goes back on our hip. We breathe in, and as we breathe out, we press through our feet, lift up, and I forgot to add in the arm. We're going to keep our hand level with our knee to start with, palm facing forward. We breathe in. As we breathe out, we lift and lower down, and go again. We breathe out to lift, into lower. Now, when you come down, try to make it as gentle as possible. And come down. That was much better. So it does require practice. You're trying to give your hips a little lift. So when you think that your body is level, just try and lift your hips a little bit more. And you should find you've got that extra bit of lift and strength there. Let's do 2 final ones here. Breathing out to lift, into lower, and our last one, breathing out to lift and into lower. Good. And come to sitting. Come to sitting in long frog, so your feet are out in front of you, hands on your calves. We're just going to do a shoulder roll here to get rid of any tension that's built up whilst you're doing those side lifts and lowers. Good. Let's go the other way now. Coming around the other way. Super. Now we're going to center ourselves, get the weight going down evenly through both of your sitting bones, feet together out in front of you. If this isn't comfortable, you can cross your legs, or you can have your feet and legs together, legs extended out in front of you. We're going to come into a lovely side reach just to get rid, or just to get some movement even through our spine. So take your arms out to the side. We're going to breathe in here. Keep your body still as you float one arm up, and then lift up and over to the side, lovely lateral flexion, restack and float that arm down. So you can see that when I do that arm raise, my body isn't moving just yet. It's only when I begin to move my spine that I move. So I breathe in, breathe out, keep your body still, and then lift up and over. So it's like you're lifting out of your waist. Good, and going again, breathing out, up and over. Restack and down. Breathing out, lifting up and over. Remember, those tummy muscles are supporting you. So as you go to the side, think about scooping your tummy up and in, reaching up and over, restack and down, and our final one, all the way up and over, restack and down. Well done. Okay, so we're already halfway through the class. So this is your opportunity to have a bit of a rest, have a drink if you need it. You can pick the class up again later on in the day or another day, or you can continue with me to make it a full hour lesson. We're going to do the next half lying on our backs, and we've got some really strong core muscle exercises coming in, as I said before. So make sure you have your band handy and your cushions ready to support your head. So I'd like you to come down into your relaxation position. So lying on the floor. What you can't see is that I'm using a recipe stand to hold my lesson plan. It's just decided to collapse on me. So we're going to come into our relaxation position, head supported by your cushion, and just feel the weight going down through the back of your head, back of your rib cage, and the back of your pelvis. You're going to take your feet so they're hip distance apart, bend in the knee, make sure that your feet are level with each other, gaze going towards the ceiling, arms lengthened down beside you, and your shoulders are released. Just make sure both sides of your waist are really long and you're not hitching one hip up or the other hip up. And we're going to rock forwards and backwards just a few times to find your neutral spine. So as you breathe out, roll your pelvis back and imprint your lumbar spine. And then as you inhale, arch away so that your lumbar spine just lifts up from the floor. So even this in itself is a really gorgeous exercise to open out any tight lumbar spines, especially if you've been doing lots of sitting or bending over. So you're imprinting and arching away, nice and slowly. Good, and we're going to come back through to our center position. And then place your hands on your hips. We're going to go into some knee drops. So what I'd like you to do from here, just walk your feet together. So your knees and your feet together now. You're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to open one leg out to the side, really controlling this movement through your core and taking that knee as wide as possible without letting your pelvis and your hips move. And come back. So one leg remains stationary. Don't be tempted to let it open out to the opposite side. You're going to breathe out and come back in. Keep your shoulders relaxed, breathing out, really feeling those muscles around your core and your hips switching on. Breathing out and in. Breathing out and in. Good. So you've got that gorgeous support around your middle. If you're confident doing it without your hands, you can place your arms down by your side, or you can take them up in the air, balanced over your shoulders. And if you want to, you can go into an opposite leg open, okay? So this time as I open my left leg, I'm taking my right arm down to the floor. Everything in my middle is really working to make sure that it doesn't rotate. And come back. Good. Breathing out really strong through your core. It's deceptively hard actually, because your hips are going to want to roll to the side and you're doing your best to control that movement here. Breathing out and in. Super. Again, breathing out and in. And our last one, out and in. Lovely. Okay, take your hands back down by your sides. Take your feet back to hip distance apart. I'm going to float our legs in one at a time into our double knee fold. And then from here, we can do exactly the same. Okay, so now you're in double knee fold. Going to keep our spine completely still. This time you can't really see from this angle actually. We're going to open one leg out to the side and come back. Breathing out to the side and come back, okay? Breathing out and in. You should feel it's a lot more control around your middle because you're holding your double knee fold as well. Keep your shoulders relaxed. And again, if you want to add in something a bit extra, you can go opposite arm and leg. I really had to think about that then. Keep your gaze going up to the ceiling. Control that movement. Make sure your hips remain level. So you're working your lower spine, your pelvic floor, and your deep core muscles as well. Good. Breathing out again and coming back. And again, out and in and out. And in. Final one here. Keep it slow and controlled. And bring your knees in. Well done. Okay, what we're going to do now is get our bands and do a hamstring stretch before we do our next exercise. So get your band and wrap it around one of your feet. Make sure the band is nice and wide around that foot. And then extend that leg up into the air. So don't worry about losing that neutral spine and pelvis at the moment. Just try and stretch that hamstring towards you. So use the band to pull your leg in towards you. And every time you breathe out, just see if you can deepen that stretch a little bit. So really feeling that lovely length and stretch along the back of your leg here. So using the band, just guide that foot in towards you a little bit more. Good. Okay, we're going to release that foot, bring it down. Just stretch out your legs, see if either of them feel different. Hopefully the leg that you stretch feels a little bit more loose and lengthened. And we're going to go on the other side now. So take the band, wrap it around your other foot and lengthen that leg up into the air. And again, just use the hands and your bands to bring that knee and leg in. Pulling that leg in towards you, keep your leg extended. That way you're going to really target your hamstrings. Good. We're going to go a few more times here. Good. Okay, we're going to release that foot, get rid of the bands, and now we're going to go into our double knee fold, one at a time. Now be really careful about your spine. This is the one I was talking about earlier, where it's quite easy to start imprinting. So we're going to keep our lovely neutral spine and pelvis. Bring your legs in one at a time. Then we're going to lengthen our legs up towards the ceiling. Okay, so bring your legs together, and then we're going to do exactly the same as before. So your legs are lengthened. Keep one leg still, and then with the other, open out to the side and bring back. Lightly pointing your leg, your toes. And you can see why we did that hip stretch, that hamstring stretch before, because otherwise my legs would have been like that rather than like this, okay? So keep your hands on the floor, use your arms. So if you want to, you can take them slightly further away from your body. Opening out, coming back. It's like your legs are pendulums. Opening out and in. Opening out and in. Keep your legs lengthened. Keep the leg that's not moving completely still. So again, we're really challenging our hip strength, core strength, and spinal strength as well. Good. One last one. And in. And then fold your knees back in, hug them in, and give yourself a little bit of a rest here. Rolling your legs around in the hip joints. Super. Okay, placing your feet back down one at a time. Now we're going to go into a scissors. So we're going to keep our head down like this. This is, actually no, it's a single straight leg stretch. I wrote scissors without head, but actually there is a name for this exercise. So what we're going to do is find your neutral spine and pelvis once again, extend one leg out and extend the other leg up towards the ceiling. Okay, so now again, it depends on your hamstring length. Mine are really tight at the moment, meaning that I can't fully extend like I'd like to. Or you can start with both of them up in the air. Coming into your curl up. Actually, no, I'm going to not do a curl up. What am I talking about? So, forgive me. Okay, let's start this exercise again. Basically, neutral spine and pelvis, head going up towards the ceiling. We're going to float our knees in one at a time. Extend your arms, one hand either side of each knee. And then from here, we're going to extend one leg away from us and reach the opposite leg up towards the ceiling. So both legs are really long. Going to pull that knee in towards us with our hands, breathing in. And as you breathe out, swap your legs over. Breathing out to swap into pause, okay? So you can see it's like a single leg stretch. We've got both legs straight. And keeping our head down just to avoid any strain on our necks today. You should really feel this around your lower abs. Now be careful to bring your toe muscles down and in rather than up and out. We don't want any doming here. So breathing out, you might find that as this goes on, you can actually bring your leg in a little bit further. I like to keep your elbows wide. So as you bring that leg in, keep your elbows wide and your chest soft. Breathing out again. And again, lovely. One more time here. Then bring both knees in towards you. And again, just give yourself a round. We're going to keep both legs together now. Place your hands around your knees and roll around to give your lower back a little massage on the floor. Circling around. Good, let's go the opposite way now, circling around. And place your feet back down again, one at a time. So from here, we're going to go into a toe tap just as a preparatory exercise for what we're going to do next. So neutral spine and pelvis once again, arms long on the floor, breathing in. Breathe out, float your knees in one at a time. Bring your feet together, but keep your knees at hip distance apart. We're going to do some single toe taps here. So when you tap down, I'd like you to tap in a line with the center of your body, okay? So rather than tapping hip distance apart between your feet, where they to both be on the floor, we're going to tap into the center, okay? So arms down, breathing in, breathing out to tap. So you've got a slight rotation in your legs and your hips. Breathing out and in. Breathing out, keep your toes lightly pointed and make sure you're not arching away from the floor. So as you tap down with control, really feeling these toe muscles switch on. Keep the angle of your knee the same. The movement is coming from your hips. And visualize that center point on the floor, which you're sending your feet to. Breathing out again and back in. Breathing out and in. One more time on each side. Out and in and out and in. Hug your knees in. Okay, so that was our preparatory exercise for our frog taps, which is where we're going to do both feet together. Now, if you don't feel that your core and your spine are quite strong enough yet, or you just don't feel like it today, stick with those individual toe taps. Otherwise, we're going to do it together. So find neutral spine and pelvis once again. Float your legs at one at a time. Bring your feet together. So your knees are hip distance apart. Your toes are together. You've got that kind of framework, that diamond-shaped framework. So toe muscles coming in, breathing out to tap. In to lower. Keep your arms on the floor for the moment. Breathing out. And in. And out. Keep your knees apart. And in. Lovely. 3. And 2. Try to make this movement as smooth as possible. And 1. And pause here. Now, if you found that super easy, we're going to add in some arms. So this time our arms are up towards the ceiling. We're going to breathe in. As we breathe out, we take our arms together away together even, and come back. Breathing out, arms move away from you, legs move away from you. Be careful of your spine again. Try not to let it arch up from the floor. Good. 3 more like this. Breathing out and in and out and in. Still got that tummy muscle supporting you. Breathing out and in, and hug your knees back in towards you and have a little bit of a rest here. Super. Okay, so we're going to place our feet back down one at a time, taking your knees and feet hip distance apart. So we're going to go into a normal spine curl, but we're going to add in a rib cage closure to start with, just to open out the front of our chest. So your head is still supported on your cushion, both sides of your waist along, feet and knees hip distance apart, arms lengthened down. You're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, roll your pelvis back, imprint your spine, engage your glutes. and peel your spine off the floor, one bone at a time, keeping your hips level, raising them up. Be careful not to overextend. So you've just got that lovely neutral spine and pelvis at the top here. And lengthen back down. Okay, so now we're going to add in the arms. We're going to breathe in and we'll breathe out to roll back. Imprint your spine, use your glutes, engage your glutes, lifting up one bone at a time. Pause here, and on your inhale, float your arms all the way back up towards the floor behind you as far as you can. Don't lose that height of your hips. And then as we exhale, we're simultaneously going to float our arms back up and over as you roll your spine down one bone at a time, coming back through to neutral. Let's go again. We breathe in, breathing out, roll back, imprint your spine, lifting up one bone at a time, nice and smoothly, hips level, float your arms up and over, and lengthen back down as you float your arms back up. Okay, so let's keep going and roll all the way up again. Hips remain high, lifting all the way up and over, and lengthening back down. Super. 3 more like this to go. So really try and get moving through every single part of your spine. So think about that sequential lifting. Keep your hips high at the top before floating back up and over. And then lengthen back down. Good. So at the top, as you pause, you're going to use your glutes. You're going to use all those muscles along the back of your spine. So it's great for your posterior strength, great for the strength of your glutes, your quads, your calves. And our final one here, lifting all the way up, hips high, lifting up and over, and then lengthening back down onto the floor. Okay, so make yourself comfortable here. Find your neutral spine and pelvis once again, because we're going to add in a knee fold. So I'd like to float your arms up into the air so your hands are balanced over your shoulders. You're in your neutral spine and pelvis. We're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, we roll back through our spine again. Engage your glutes, lifting up one bone at a time. Hips remain high. Breathe in and float one knee up. Lower down on the exhale. Try your best to keep your hips nice and high. Float up. Lower down. Lengthen back down onto the floor. Okay, so quite tricky to not wobble around here. So I really like you to think about rooting down through that supporting leg. Trust in that leg, it's going to hold you up. Keep your foot really relaxed and extended on the floor. Don't be tempted to squish up your toes. That's not going to help at all. Just keep that leg firm, that foot firm and relaxed. Okay, so let's go again. Breathing in, breathing up. We roll back, lifting up one bone at a time. Hips nice and high again. Use your glutes to support you here. Inhale to float one knee in, lower down. Okay, hips remain high. Float the other knee in, lower down, and lower back down through your spine back into your neutral position. Okay, we're going to go 3 more times. Rolling up. Keep your hands high, hips high. Float in and down. Float in and down. Lengthen all the way down. Now, if you want to make it even more challenging for yourself, you can try and do this with a long leg. So this time we lift up. Float that leg in and point that foot. Lower that leg down. Point that leg up. Bend your knee and lower down. Okay. So you fold that knee in. Point the leg. Float the leg down. Keep your hips high. Bring that leg up. And come down. Okay. Let's do one final normal one. Lifting all the way up. Float in and down. So after that long-legged one, this should feel like a walk in the park. And lengthen down. Float your arms down. Bring your knees and feet together. Let's go to a hip roll. So knees and feet glued together. We breathe in. We breathe out to roll to the side. Keep your opposite shoulder down. Bring back through to center. Let's go to the other side. Breathing out, back to center. Toe muscles coming in. You're bringing your muscles in and down to support your spine. Okay, couple more times to each side. And our last one here. And bring your knees in. Okay, so now float your knees up one at a time. You're going to go into a gorgeous lower back massage. So let your calves just hang down. And from here, we're going to circle around. Keep your arms on the floor. And circle around. So you're imprinting your spine. Feel that gorgeous little massage around the base of your spine as you circle. Good. So you're drawing a circle with your knees. You're just lifting your pelvis up from the floor at the very end of that movement. Okay, let's go the other way now. So bring your knees in and going back round. Good. Keep your knees glued together. Use your arms to help you with this movement. And our last one. And then take your feet back onto the floor one at a time. Take the cushion out from behind your head and clasp your hands there. And we're going to go into some normal curl up. So you have our neutral spine and pelvis, elbows kind of up to the ceiling. They're not clasped around your head really tightly, but you can still see them in the corner of your eye. Breathing in here. As you breathe out, nod your chin. Keep your head heavy in your hands and lift up one bone at a time. Lengthen down with control. Breathing out. And in. Good. So we're getting this lovely flexion. You're controlling it with your core, using your rectus abdominis. So this movement is really coming from here. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can extend your arms towards your legs and reach with your fingers up. So your head isn't supported. So just be careful of your neck here. If you feel your neck straining at any point, take your hands back behind. We're going to do 2 more like this. And our final one. And come down. Take your hands back behind your head. And we're going to add in a single knee fold. So let's breathe in. As you breathe out, curl up. And simultaneously draw that leg into a single knee fold. And lower down. So you're really feeling a tightening around your abdominal muscles as you come in. Okay, this is a great prep exercise for crisscross, which is what we're going to do next. So as you come, really feel these muscles contract down. Good. Going again. Breathing out. And in. Good. Last one on each side. Breathing out and in. And our final one. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to bring our knees one at a time into our double knee fold. Come into curl up. So this is our start position. We're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, let's rotate to the side. Bring that knee in and extend the opposite leg away. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale to go to the other side. We're doing this super slowly. So you're rotating, fully extending the opposite leg, feeling the openness around the front of your hip. Coming back in. So doing it slowly gives us that control and precision. You'd really feel those deep abdominal muscles working here. We're working the obliques. Good. Breathing out, draw the opposite knee in if you can. And again, to the other side. Final one on each side here. Last one. Bring your knees in, rest your head down, relax here. Relax your legs if you want to. We're going to try and do the same with straight legs, okay? So very similar to what we did earlier and just a variation of the exercise we've just done. This is called scissors. So double knee fold to start. Extend one leg away as you extend the opposite leg up. Come into that curl up, rotate. And rotate. Rotate. Try to keep your legs as long as possible. Keep them really active. You can make this a bit quicker if you want, just to challenge yourself. Make sure you keep that control. Breathing out and in. Out and in. Out and in. Last one. Hug your knees into wash you out. And rest here. I can really feel that today around my mid area. Okay, so we're going to lengthen our legs away from us and roll over onto our fronts. Come into a little bit of extension to counterbalance all of that curl up that we've just done. So, placing your head down on the floor and your hands are level with your forehead. Take your legs apart and rotate them so your toes are pointing out, your heels are in. Forehead is down. We're going to breathe in here. As we breathe out, let's start pushing our nose away. Lifting up our spine one bone at a time, lifting all the way up and extending our arms into that gorgeous cobra. Remember, if you want to, you can pause at cobra prep, which is where your elbows are still on the floor, and lower down. Breathing in again, breathing out to press away. Lifting up one bone at a time. Really feel strong here, so really extended through your spine. And lengthen down, really lengthening down onto the floor. And lengthen down, keep your shoulders melting down your spine. Be careful to replace bone by bone. Don't be tempted just to flop down onto the floor. And lengthen back down again. And one more time, all the way up here. And lengthen back down. Super. Place your head on your hands. Take your feet back to hip distance apart. And we're going to go into some single leg lifts. So breathing in here. As you breathe out, let's float one leg up, moving from the hip. Lower down. Don't be tempted to bend the knee. Really keep that movement coming from your hip. So you're getting hip extension. The back of your legs and your glutes are switching on here. And lower down. Good. Going again. Breathing out and in. Moving slowly and with control. Really try and lengthen that leg up. So lightly point your toe. Think about the lift coming from your hip. It's really tempting to bend your knee, I know, but try and keep that leg lengthened. So just imagine it's moving away from you. Keep your shoulders relaxed and your jaw relaxed as well. Last one on each side. And lift and lower. Okay, so now we're going to stretch both arms out in front of us. Keep your gaze towards the floor, but you're extended through the top of your spine. So back of neck is long, going up towards the ceiling. Let's breathe in here, breathing out. Lift opposite arm and leg and lower down. Opposite arm and leg lift and lower. So this time we've got extension at the hip and extension at the shoulder. Reaching through your fingers. And again, good. Good. 2 more times. And rest down here. Place your forehead down. Place your hands underneath your shoulders. Push yourself into 4-point kneeling. Bring your knees so that they are underneath your hips. And take your hands directly beneath your shoulders. Really lengthen throughout your spine. Keep that back of your neck long. Check that the centers of your elbows are facing each other. Breathing in here, we're going to breathe out and roll our pelvis underneath us. Really taking that tailbone and rolling up one bone at a time. Head coming down. Extending back, breastbone going forward, bottom going back. Going again, rolling underneath you. Head coming down. Extending back. Moving again, rolling all the way up. Mid back going up towards the ceiling. We're passing through neutral to go into an extended cat as well. So you're arching your spine before returning. So really strong here. Wrist bone going forward, bottom going backwards. Moving sequentially, bone by bone. And 2 more like this, rolling underneath you, pressing the mat away, head coming down last wall, extending back. Keep lots of weight going through all of your hands, not just into the wrists. Final one. Come back to neutral, take your knees slightly further apart, and if you can, sit your bottom back over your heels. So you're in that rest position, forehead coming down to rest on the back of your hands, and let your spine relax. So breathing in, and breathe out to relax. Good. Okay, so we're just going to come back into forward foot kneeling, come round so that you're sitting however is comfortable for you. Take your arms up the side, let your shoulders relax. Imagine that piece of thread pulling it through the crown of your head all the way towards the ceiling. Now breathe in and breathe out. Float your arms up, looking up and back, reaching your fingers up towards the ceiling. Pressing the air away. Going to go one more time, reaching your arms all the way up and pressing the air away. And you're done. Well done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a really good time and enjoyed it. There are some slightly more tricky exercises in there, so let me know how you got on. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on Monday. Have a great weekend and see you then. Bye-bye.